Hi, I'm Ben Chong, Team Manager of the 2009 RSR Scion Drift Team.
I'm Stefan Papadakis, owner and manager of the Rockstar Scion Drift Team. We're here at Round 2 Formula Drift, Atlanta.
Gucci. Woo!
I would say that we really have a tightly knit, strong team. My mechanics, they're like traditional Japanese, so they like to do everything the traditional Japanese style. And I'll drive anything they provide me. I feel that it is important for the driver to know how the car is engineered. So I'll kind of be like the student, and they're the ones that are like teaching me all the stuff about setting up the car. Of course, my input is really important to them as well. Typically, I wouldn't tell them to set up the car in a certain way. I'll just kind of drive it, feel it, give them feedback, and then let them handle all the engineering, the car setup stuff.
Even though we make these changes before and after each event, we're still constantly making improvements on the car, and it's good to have the driver feedback that Ken provides us so that we will know exactly what he likes and how he wants the car set up.
The relationship between a driver and an engineer or a manager or whatever is it's a really tricky one, you know, because if your jobs or your area of expertise overlap, that can, you can step on some toes. In drifting, if you have a problem, you only have 5 minutes to fix it. It's not like you have all this time in the pits. We have to change things very, very quick, and it's very high stress, so you have to be very delicate on a race weekend. Luckily with our team, we've got very few people on the crew, and so it's difficult for jobs to overlap. So we get along great. My job is basically to try to get the car set up to be comfortable for me and to get through the track as well as possible. I kind of know what I want, and Stefan, being a driver himself, can relate to what I'm saying and then translate it into the actual shock settings.
He can tell me what's going on, and it's easy to articulate, back and forth. So we're always working on it, thinking of ways to make it better, and we talk a lot.
I basically tell him what it feels like, what I think the changes should be. We talk about that, and it gets done.
Our 2009 Drift TC has been converted from front-wheel drive to rear-wheel drive. The biggest difference from a stock TC is we use a 3SGE motor versus the factory 2AZ motor. It uses custom piston and rods. We have turbocharger and custom intercooling radiator setup. The car is pushing about 450 horsepower and about 380 foot-pounds of torque. We've also put a custom race transmission in the car. Suspension is RSR custom iShock coilovers. We've changed the front suspension to make it a little bit more aggressive so we can get a lot more angle out of the car. We've actually widened the body about 2 inches in the front and about 3 inches in the rear. Overall, with that and the graphics game, it gives us a very unique look.
Our car is a 2009 Scion TC, but we did a lot of work to it. It's actually rear-wheel drive now with a Toyota NASCAR V8. There's a big difference actually between Ken's Scion TC and ours. They use the 4-cylinder, we have a V8. We have a similar transmission, we use the G-Force dog box. And then they're using a lot of the Scion suspension in their back, but we're actually using the Toyota Supra rear suspension. So it's really strong, really good for drifting. The style of this car was really to have a lot of big V8, high horsepower, a lot of torque, but at the same time keep it in the Toyota family. Our car started life as, a normal Scion TC. We just stripped it all the way down, did a lot of chassis work to it, but if you look at the car, everything is still a Scion TC. You sit in it, the dashboard, everything, it's very much Scion TC. But when you start looking at all the things that really make it top performer on the drift track, we stepped it up a level and used what we could from, the Toyota parts bin.
For Atlanta, one of the big deals with this track is that it has a huge variety of speed. There's plenty of places to catch up to the guy in front of you. It's a great tandem show in Atlanta. There's no surprises. You know that you can go 100% right off the bat. There's no like blind corners or anything. You got 90 miles an hour on the entry. You've got all the way down to 30 miles an hour in this tight little horseshoe U-turn basically, and then back up to 90 miles an hour again. You can imagine kind of accelerating 50 miles an hour up to 90 miles an hour while you're sideways and grabbing a gear while the tires are spinning. It's a tricky thing, and it's really hard on the gear.
There's a lot of tuning involved at the different tracks, and depending on the weather even. Some of the big changes we'll make on the different courses would be gear ratio.
That's one of the main things that we focused on with the Rockstar Scion. We changed our final drive ratio so we could use one gear for basically the whole track.
Compared to other tracks in the Formula Drift series, it's one of the easier tracks because of course there's no walls here. I can push it as hard as I can and it's not going to damage the car. The track is unique in a way that there's a lot of elevation change, and it's a fast entry track, but you gotta slow down really abruptly on the first corner. For me personally, I really like it a lot because I like to drift with a lot of angle, a lot of aggressive smoke sound. Our RSR Scion TC was kind of set up really on the basic level, so it was easy for me to drive. At Long Beach, we had a terrible weekend. I mean, the alignment wasn't set up right, the tire pressures were really off, and myself as a driver, I wasn't really confident with the car, so we wanted to set it up so that I would be confident enough to quickly transition, stay on the gas, and throw the car into the drift with confidence. Here at Road Atlanta, I'll start the car in first gear, run through the gears, averaging about 85, 86 miles an hour. I'll use a side brake, go into the left turn corner, and get right back on the gas in third gear, transition to the right corner, and I'll downshift to second gear at the clipping point, shoot the car towards the outside of the horseshoe, and try to maintain the average speed of the horseshoe, 35 or 40 miles an hour. From there, I'll upshift into third gear, exit the horseshoe while maintaining speed, and then go to the downhill section of the course, and then transition to the right and exit the course.
Off the launch, I just try to get a little bit of wheel spin, grab second gear real quick, and then let that one rev up to 8,000 RPM, then into third gear. The handbrake is pretty long, slowing down, looking for the point where I can dump the clutch, and going through the first corner, looking for a little bit of tire smoke here. The transition can be tricky because it's slippery. Make the transition and down into second gear into the horseshoe. Now the judges can see exactly what's going on in the horseshoe, so you try to get the back tire right along the outside, add a little bit of RPM there so it sounds good. And I try to stay full throttle this whole section, into this bank corner, down the hill, full throttle, holding it as long as I can, brake. Tricky transition, the only wall to hit is right there. Missed it this time, back up the straightaway, that's the run.
Thanks for watching, we're done here at Road Atlanta.
Packing up, trailer's almost all the way full, heading out to
round 3, Wall Stadium.
We'll see you there.